This is Nothing Coherent. I'm Brandon.
I'm Zach.
And this week, Ryan is dead. The Cats movie killed him.
Yeah, I know. He is having a few issues with his voice. He's not feeling too great, apparently. So we're just going to kind of do a catch-up thing because we haven't had a real episode in quite a while.
Yeah, we were discussing it. It's been a couple weeks since we've actually sat down and talked just kind of about things. It's not been dedicated to Star Wars
right,
or
like
we did
a big
the Knives
episode.
Out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last time we really sat down, at least to my memory, was right before Pokemon came out.
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate.
So we're going to play catch-up. So we'll talk about it towards the end, what our plans are for the next couple episodes, but we're just playing catch-up today. As of the Globes are tonight, no bets on that, because I'm not watching Holmes and Watson again. But
where does that rank for you?
Oh, number one.
That's the worst movie you've seen?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know if I put it in the top 10 worst.
Really?
Yeah.
Where would you actually know? We'll save our discussion for Cats.
I don't know. That both of them, I don't know if I would put in a worst. But hold on. Here's the thing with Cats. We'll discuss. We have, trust me, we will do a full.
We're going to do a full segment on Cats.
Next week, when we record, if Ryan is not dead from Cats, we will probably set aside just a small snippet of time to just talk about Cats.
We have 15 minutes to just scream and get whatever rage out we want about Cats, and that's all we ever say about it.
But I don't know. One, I wouldn't recommend it. Strongly would not recommend it.
That's a hard no.
But I don't know if it's the worst, if it'd be in my top 10 worst. But that's because I don't think... The musical is very polarizing as well. Same thing with the movie.
Yeah.
I think if you like the musical, potentially you'll like the movie.
See, I've talked to people who like Cats, and even they're like, no, I don't like this.
Okay.
And I think the reason why is because, like...
The campiness is gone. I was talking to...
That, and, like... They create a whole new character for the movie, which is the main character.
I thought Victoria was in the play.
As far as I know, Victoria is not in the play.
I'm gonna fact check that.
Now, you can, because I haven't seen the play.
I haven't either.
But people were telling me, I don't recall Victoria being a main character, and they introduced her in the movie just so that you have a better understanding of what's going on in the movie. And I feel like that made it worse.
Let's look. There is... Oh my gosh, there's so many people.
Yeah. The one thing about Cats that I will say was impressive was the massive cast list of the Cats. I was shocked that all these people signed on to do it.
Well, and we talked about it.
We did.
And I think on paper, you hear they're doing a Cats movie, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the biggest Broadway play of all time, isn't it? It ran the longest.
I think it's the third biggest Broadway play of all time.
In terms of length, I think it's ran the most, though, right? Like, it has the most years on Broadway?
No? I don't think that's the case. I'd have to look, but...
I want to say it's up there, though. It's definitely, like, one of the most notable Broadway musicals.
Okay, man.
But,
these are in alphabetical order. Victoria is the cat you follow.
Right, and I thought that...
In the play.
Oh, in the play? She's in the play, too? Because somebody told me that. I was like, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I just don't see how you would not introduce a character like that to try to help me understand what's going on, but I was still freaking confused.
Well, that's how she is in the play, too. She's the cat that
that gets abandoned.
Guides the story, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, we'll talk way more about it. I don't want to ruin this, because I want Ryan to get his chance to talk, because he called me pretty mad, and I was like...
Oh, he was mad?
Yeah, he's like, why did I see that? I'm like, well, you know
what you lost.
You lost the Star Wars bet, and I saw it for fun, so...
I don't know why you saw it.
I like Broadway plays, and I was really curious about it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm fixing my chair.
The best part for me in that movie was... Remember when we saw Coco? And you and I laughed so hilariously hard that we were worried that we were going to get kicked out. I had the people at Alamo come up to me twice during Cats to tell me to stop laughing at how bad it was. They were getting on to me, not the drunk guy next to me who was screaming the entire time, but me for laughing too loudly.
Yeah, Ryan said that a bunch of people left during his showing.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I saw like 6 people get up and leave during mine. But I was like, I have to stay. I lost the bet.
But
I'm a man of honor.
Let's talk about a movie that people are walking out of, is Uncut Gems. Did you know that statistically, at least 20 people walk out of this movie midway through?
Really?
Because they see Adam Sandler in a new movie, and they assume it's another Adam Sandler movie, and just leave.
That's so stupid.
It's being reported that a good percentage of people are just walking out of it.
I think that's so stupid. If you give this movie a chance, I think that people will enjoy it for his performance.
Well, it's funny, we were talking. I mean, we had 2 people with us that didn't like it, and
yeah,
my wife's, well, I guess kind of not my, I don't know. Some family members of ours last night were talking to us about it, and they're like, how'd you like that? And I was like...
Because of just the intensity. And
and they were like, we won't spoil it, but they were like, the last 20 minutes are great. And I was like, yeah. But yeah, they were telling me, they were like, yeah, they just didn't like it except for the last 20 minutes. And I was like, but that's the payoff of the movie. Like, right. It's all that way intentionally for that.
You have to build it up to that. A lot of people are like, this movie doesn't have a happy ending. And I'm like, it's not supposed to. There are a lot of movies out there that, like, are not designed to make you feel good, but to teach you a lesson about what not to do. And that's what this movie is.
Yeah, the intensity of it plays all the way through it.
Right.
So let's rewind. Adam Sandler is phenomenal.
I agree.
I honestly...
This is his best performance he's ever given.
Right, and I think it's really... I hope he gets an Oscar nom for this. He doesn't need to win it. I don't know if he'll win it.
I would appreciate him just being nominated, but that will not quell the wrath of Sandler if he doesn't win, according to his tweet.
Yeah, he's saying keep making bad movies if he doesn't win an Oscar for this. But,
every 5 years he'll do a really good movie, but everything in between is really bad.
Well, it was the last one Punch Drunk Love in like 2008, so we have to wait every 11 years.
Yeah. Once a decade you get an okay movie, that's it.
But
Hotel Transylvania's aren't bad, I guess.
But I mean, like
acting wise, like voice acting is one.
Well,
thing.
I heard 3 is kind of bad.
I didn't see 3.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen it either. I was gonna go see it.
I actually remember I was gonna go see it, and then something came up, and I was like, I can't.
But let's stay on topic on Uncut Gems. So
I loved this movie.
Yeah, I did too. I won't no spoilers on where it ranks, but I have it in my top 10 for sure.
I do too. And for me, I felt like the tone was set really well. I thought that the plot made perfect sense. I've argued with people about it, like, how's this guy in this much trouble if he's working in the Diamond District? I'm like, the plot of the movie is about greed.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about a man's descent into greed. It's not...
Well, I think it's the descent. I think it's... You constantly see that the greed exists, even from the first couple minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you instantly get this idea of this man is given into greed and wants to continually...
Right, and he's a gambling addict, too. So, like, he's taking money that's not his and using it like it is.
Right.
Like, that's how bad it's gotten. So it's like, of course this isn't going to end in a good way. We set that up from the very beginning. Like, I felt like at any point in this movie, like, people were going to be like, all right, we want our money. And I'm like, when is it going to happen?
Well, I think all throughout the movie, people are, like, constantly, like, talking to him about, like, how he owes money for different people, and it's just showing constantly.
There's different people coming up all the time. I think at one point, like, there's a scene
where 3 of them are all kind of, like, converting at one point.
Right.
And, like,
but, like, I just remember, like, it's right before, like, the last, like, 20 or 30 minutes, and he's in his office, and, like, he's just, like, finally cracking under the pressure. I'm like, this scene right here is, like, the one to me that I'm like, all right, Adam Sandler can actually act. He can do all these things. Yeah. And everybody who craps on him just because he wants to just make dumb movies with his friends, watch this movie, actually watch it, and be like, this is a really good story. I think because it's Adam Sandler and what people sort of expect from him, they're not giving this movie a fair chance.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think for me, all the cast was really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember do you remember the name of the basketball player?
No, but he did very well.
He does really good, which surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that girl that's with him is a new... I could be totally wrong. I think she's an up-and-comer.
I think this is her second movie.
Which she is really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really funny. The Weeknd is actually in this movie. For the scene he has. The
Weeknd.
Yeah.
So I read something about a week ago that said that originally this wasn't going to be Adam Sandler. It was going to be Jonah Hill in the role. And I even looked it up on Wikipedia, and that's been talked about. And I'm like, I could see Jonah Hill also doing really well in that role.
I don't know if I would have seen it, though, if it was Jonah Hill.
I don't either. That's the thing. Like... It's almost like this weird, like, perfect storm of somebody leaving and somebody else getting the role and just knocking it out of the park. Like, if I had to give this a scale on a 1 to 10, I'd probably say it's a 9 or a 9.5 for me. Like, it's that good to me.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's weird because I feel like it's a 10, but I would also say it's like an 8.5 to a 9. It's so weird on this one. I'm going to say 9. I'm just going to stick with 9. But I feel like it's odd because at any moment I could be like, well, I loved everything about it. And there are some times where I'm like, but it's a little long. So yeah, for me, I think I would give this like I think a 9 is fair.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any breathing room like you were just saying before it cut again.
This is going to be such a bad episode.
Is it though? Like, listen, I loved the movie. I feel like if they would have just had one scene where, like, we get a little bit of breathing room, it would probably help it a lot, especially for people who, like, are leaving, like, halfway through or whatever. If, like, at the end of the first act or something, like, there's just a moment where you're like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. Because it's just, for the most part, it's just constantly screaming and yelling and, like, high intense stress. So I understand people, like, feeling anxious watching the movie, like, I can't sit through this, like, this is too much pressure, and I'm not even the guy in the movie. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I get it. Like, you have to just take it really slow, but this movie moves so fast.
So let's move on to another movie about parents in a way, Honey Boy.
Okay.
With another performance that, you know, kind of was a little unexpected, but
yeah,
I don't have a lot to say about this one, so
I don't really either.
But because it's really weird. It's basically like maybe 2 or 3 different. It's if you've ever saw Jobs with
Ashton Kutcher.
No.
The other Steve Jobs movie.
Yes, was it McConaughey?
I don't know. I only saw the one with Ashton Kutcher. That sounds right though.
I'm going to look. But it's basically just 3 different scenes, 3 different moments of his life.
Yeah.
And that's how Honey Boy feels, except it's like...
It's 2.
I'd say 3, because it's him in rehab. Yeah. And then there's 2 different times with him, or 2 different times with him growing up. So you're alternating between these scenes of, like, just him in the motel and, like, it constantly being this, just this one moment of life.
See, I just don't know how to feel about Honey Boy. Like, I think that it's sad, and learning a lot about Shia LaBeouf's life is definitely interesting. But, like, I didn't understand what the point of the movie was by the end. Like, because he both stars, writes, and directs this movie, right?
No. He wrote it and stars in it. He doesn't direct it.
He doesn't direct it? Okay. So, clearly, Shia is writing about his relationship with his father. Like, when he was a kid. And how that affected him growing up. And I just feel like the resolution that we get by the end just feels weird. Maybe that's exactly how it happened and that's why it is the way that it is. But for me, I felt like the ending just wasn't there for me with this movie. Like, I didn't feel like there was reconciliation and forgiveness, I guess. Which is what I think the movie is trying to portray.
Well, and that's what, like... Yeah, I think it is. I think it's him coming to terms because it's supposed to be him accepting the past and not letting it control him.
At the very least, closure.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the performances. Like,
yeah, I thought Shia does really good. But I don't know if I liked... And this is like the weird thing about it. I know you and one of our other friends liked it way more than I did. But I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like...
Oh, it's not in my top 10.
It's not in mine either. But it was like... it's good.
I like it.
It's on Amazon, so like if you have time to watch it, I definitely recommend
I definitely recommend seeing it.
Yeah.
Just for Shia's performance alone. And I think that the child actor does a very good job.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'll look him up.
Yeah, because I feel like he's one of those few that I'm like... Him and the kids from Jojo Rabbit, I feel, will go places.
Yeah, which the kid for Jojo Rabbit is up tonight for Best Actor.
I would not be surprised if he wins because... He was stealing scenes with Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell, to me.
Noah Jupe.
Yeah. Man. Like, I just love the fact that a lot of movies this year that involve child actors, the child actors are doing so incredible.
Michael Fassbender. Dang it, I knew that. For Jobs, I knew that. But yeah, so I like Honey Boy. It's like an 8.
I'd say, yeah, an 8.
I think it's a good movie. I genuinely think it's a good movie. Incredibly well acted. It's just not for me.
Yeah, it's also slow.
Yeah, but it's only an hour and 20 minutes.
Right, it
just feels long.
It feels longer than what it is.
Or maybe an hour and 40.
And there are parts that I feel are really weird.
Yeah, so another movie about fatherhood.
Oh, okay.
Is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Oh, no, I don't want to cry again. That is a movie that's in my top 10. It's very high as of right now.
I got into a discussion with somebody the other night. If you took emotionally, I would put it really high up, but critically, I'm like, it's not that high up.
See, I guess I'm just playing with my emotions on this one because I loved Mr. Rogers growing up as a kid, and I think that Tom Hanks just plays him so amazingly well. And, like, this is in the trailer, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything. When they're on the train and everybody starts singing the Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood song, I teared up.
I know,
like,
it was like weird.
Oh my gosh. Why is this so sad? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just so good. Like, you want to talk about a movie that makes you feel good and just, like, shows you the meaning of, like, forgiveness, family, and all those sort of things. Like,
right, and I think
this movie does that so well.
Yeah, so I'll play the bad guy in this one. I think for me, the negatives come that Tom Hanks just dominates. Anytime he's on screen, that everyone else to me feels like they're doing mediocre jobs.
I could agree with that. Like everybody is clearly outclassed by Tom Hanks.
And it sucks because, like, I think the story they're giving is good, but if somebody who was playing Rogers was somebody who was, and this sounds bad, somebody who couldn't command the screen like he does, then
you probably wouldn't care as much.
It maybe not bother me as much, but it does, and it's not to the movie's. Well, it is. It is a little bit to the movie's fault. I just feel like the actors who are portraying them aren't able to keep up with Tom Hanks' performance. But maybe that's supposed to be the case.
I mean, I guess that's the case because
Rogers is a person who's larger than life.
Based on, like... Because this is based on a true story. Like,
here's the thing.
To an extent. It's based on the guy who met Fred Rogers, and he wrote an article about him.
Yeah, I never figured out if the dad stuff is true.
I looked into that. I haven't found anything. I would believe that it is.
But I've seen the article is real.
Yeah.
So
I read the article.
Well, yeah, so did I. Which it was cool because it was like talking about like just random people coming up to Rogers and like interacting with him.
Just stuff that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is
everything
really
that happens in the movie with Rogers and him is real.
Yeah.
Like when he asked for the moment of silence in the shop, everyone goes quiet.
I heard people crying. Like, when it was like, just think about, like...
It did what the Won't You Be My Neighbor did. And I was like...
Won't You Be My Neighbor. And I was like, oh, they're doing this again. I was like, no!
But, I mean, like, I genuinely enjoy the movie.
Yeah,
I think...
I do, too. I feel like the story surrounding Fred Rogers just isn't as good as his performance itself. I do agree.
Like, I wish it was just a straight-up biopic.
Of Fred Rogers.
Of Mr. Rogers with Tom Hanks in it.
I think that we're going to get that at some point.
I don't know. We've already gotten 2 Mr. Rogers movies in the last 2 years.
Just give it a few years, and I think that you will. Because people are so enamored with him right now that there's going to be demand for it. I think you're going to start seeing more biopics of people.
Well, they're doing a Michael Jackson one in like a year or 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after what happened with Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man, like, I do feel like you're going to start to
I think musical biopics are going to come back.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to see that for actors, too, because there's a Hulk Hogan one in development with Chris Hemsworth and things like that. Like, I do think that we're going to start to see those. So I think a Fred Rogers one is very likely.
So I would give it...
I give it a 9. You can give it a 7 if you want.
I was going to be generous and say a 7.5. Because I do think it is a good movie and the message is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, the message alone, if you were like... That would be, if I was emotionally ranking this and I was like, just the message and the heart of the movie.
Well, I am.
It would be like way high up for me. But looking at it overall, like the acting and the story, and for me, that stuff, just some of it doesn't work.
Oh, see,
every scene that does not have Tom Hanks, I was like, kind of like, okay, let's get back to Tom Hanks.
I just feel like people, when Tom Hanks isn't on screen, the story is interesting enough to actually keep me invested. I felt super related to the story going on in the movie. Like, between him and his dad, I was just like, okay, I want to see this play out. I felt like the acting was strong, but Tom Hanks just destroys everybody else. Like, there's no comparison. Like, if you went out of that movie saying, oh yeah, no, the main character, his acting was way better than Tom Hanks, you're lying.
Yeah, so like I said, 7.5 is what I give it.
Yeah.
It's good. I genuinely think it's a good movie.
He could win Best Supporting Actor.
He's up for Best Actor tonight?
Really? Best Actor?
I have to look.
Because to me, I don't think he's the main character, even though it's about him. I would say the main character is the writer of the article.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a lightning round. Oh, wait, hold on. We'll do one more, and then I got to do a lightning round to catch up on all my stuff. So, Frozen 2.
Oh, God.
So, this one for me hit way harder than it did for everyone else. And I think it was the Into the Unknown song. Because
the Unknown song is so good.
Just because of everything that's happening in life right now. Like, I literally have no idea what's happening.
Oh,
and the minute that played, I was like, this sucks. I was like, why are you doing this to me?
Just pointing at Elsa, leaning over the edge of Arendelle, and it's like, please just fall off.
Well, even like Anna's song at the end, the Depression song.
When she was just like
it. What?
I did not like that song.
Are you serious?
Like, you put yourself here. This is all your fault. You left Kristoff and Sven. Why did you do that? Like, you wouldn't be alone right now.
But even removing that,
I know, but like,
you're telling me that song doesn't like hit some kind of
I think that the song
core.
is good, but I just feel like the moment leading up to it just doesn't make sense. I did not like Anna in this movie as much as I like Elsa.
I do. I think Elsa. Hold on.
I think that it switched for me from the first to the second movie, where I liked Anna a lot more in the first movie. Did not care for Elsa that much. And now, in the second movie, it's the opposite.
Well, I think it's because Elsa has the more interesting story.
Well, yeah.
Elsa's like the focus of the movie.
Finally.
I agree that I think Elsa's part is like the way more interesting and better part. And I do think Anna has problems, but for me, I still love this movie. The freaking power ballad in the middle of the like woods.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And the animation is beautiful.
The animation's great. I will never take away from that.
But like
I just couldn't get as into the story of this one as I could the first one.
I liked it. And like I said, it might be hitting some like really personal chord right now.
Yeah.
But I liked it as much, if not more, than the first one.
Really?
Even to the point where I think I like Into the Unknown more than I like Let It Go.
Oh, I like Into the Unknown way more than Let It Go.
And I love the Panic at the Disco version of Into the Unknown.
I've listened to that a lot.
But I think everyone does good. I think everyone for what they're given to do, even though I wish Kristoff got more, but at the same time,
I do too.
He serves his purpose. Like, he's a supporting character. And this is a story of sisterhood.
I did not like the pushing him to the side, and every time he's trying to talk to Anna, they make Anna seem really stupid and can't pick up on the fact that he's trying to propose to her.
Well,
I did not like it. I was like, this doesn't work for me.
But, so we were discussing it. I think it's just like, she's so worried about Elsa. Right. She knows that, like...
And I get that, but I'm like, you've been with this man for how long now?
I do think it's weird that there's no like they don't give you how long had passed.
I feel like they said 3 years. But
they never said a time. I've seen it twice, and either one of those times I was like listening. It's never mentioned, but it says. I think a while has passed.
I also think that this movie is funnier than the first one.
Yeah, I like the humor a lot more.
Olaf went from being a character that I did not like that much in the first movie to being my favorite character in this movie.
Don't my wife hear that shit. I think Olaf in this movie does pay off more, but for me, I thought he was just fine. Like, I didn't like his song.
Can we talk spoilers? Because it's been out for a while.
Yeah, might as well.
When he Thanos Dustin, I didn't care.
When he died, I thought it was funny.
I was like, he is not dead.
Well, I knew he wasn't dead. But even, like, I heard there's, like, this little girl next to me who just, like, she was, like, all hyper energetic during the entire movie. When he dies, she just, like, slumped back in her chair and it's just, like, crying.
There's a kid I was sitting next to, and this little girl was like, Thanos isn't in this movie, and I just about started clapping, because I was just like, she legit is like, this is stupid. Like, I also really liked the soldiers who were left behind on the island. I liked the history of Arendelle and how they were terrible people. And I was like, yeah, everybody in this kingdom is kind of terrible.
Well, some of them just were. It's the idea of you're fighting without knowing.
Right.
And so they.
Oh, I mean, like the leadership.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought
the leadership in Arendelle has been bad.
Well, and that is my only other problem. Is I was like, it is way too predictable of that. Mm-hmm. The grandpa's the villain. Like.
Yeah, but it's like you guys left the kingdom again together. Don't you remember how not too long ago some guy named Hans comes out of nowhere and is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take over your kingdom.
Well, he's like, I'll watch it for you while you're gone, and then betrays him and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but and the same thing could have happened again.
Well, yeah, to some extent, but
But I liked the one soldier who, like, after Anna...
Sterling K. Brown's character,
Anna's just like, no, you have to listen to me, and he just immediately does what she says instead of thinking, no, we were right back in the day. He's like, no, we were wrong.
Yeah, the minute she's like, hey, we gotta do this, he's like, alright, well... I like the idea of everything that happened there. That all these people have been stuck in this woods for. Yeah, it had been like at least 20 years.
I do feel like the story was not made just to make another Frozen. I think that they actually answered some questions about like where Elsa's powers come from.
Yeah, I do like all the answers we're given.
Yeah, because to me, I was like, sometimes sequels are made just to make money, and I was really worried that Frozen 2 was being made just to make money.
Which, as of today, it is the highest-grossing animated film of all time.
Yeah.
And people want to argue Lion King. Lion King is not an animated film, people. The 2019 Lion King is a live-action remake.
It is a CGI nightmare fest.
But, so, we'll get moving into the lightning round. But I give Frozen 2 a 9. Like, I loved
give it an 8.
I loved Frozen 2.
There are moments that I really like. I love everything with the water horse.
Oh my gosh!
It's so beautiful.
We were talking how depressing it probably is that the horse killed her parents.
Oh yeah.
Because they died at sea, would have been right at that sea line. So that means the water spirit definitely killed them.
I don't think it did.
Well, they drowned. So
they could have hit anything. There could have been an iceberg out there. Frozen powers. Also, how does Anna remember the song about the river if they erased her memory from?
They only erased the powers.
The magic. Okay.
Yeah, everything that had to do with ice and stuff.
That's what I thought. I was like, is that the case, or did they just like completely blank her mind out, like from anything? Because in that scene, Anna is also using powers.
Elsa
is using powers. A lot of people were worried that Anna was going to have fire powers.
That's what I wanted. I wanted them to be like, oh yeah, they each have powers.
Fire and ice!
Well, and then it like cuts, and Xavier comes in at the end, he's like, I'd like to introduce you to my school.
I'd be so frustrated. But I would be totally down for mutants to exist in the Disney animated universe.
Hugh Jackman returns as Wolverine. That's the only way we'll get him back.
Rapunzel's mutant powers are her hair growing through string lengths.
So,
Tangled is still better.
Lightning round time. This is for me, so I'll try to do this all quick. Jumanji 3. As good as the second one. If you haven't seen it, definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's Danny DeVito. The Rock playing Danny DeVito is great. Anna Fiqua, I always get it wrong, does really good in it too. Mm-hmm. Kevin Hart this is the best role of Kevin Hart I've ever seen, and it's him imitating somebody else.
Danny Glover?
Donnie? Yeah, is it Danny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald's the son.
Yeah. Overall, really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. Mm-hmm. Probably give it like a 7.
Okay.
Richard Jewell. Richard Jewell's hard because it's based on a true story. Mm-hmm. So true story is really frustrating because there are a lot of good points made in it, and people are arguing about one thing in it. Because there's a scene where the reporter sleeps with an FBI agent to get information, and everyone's like, well, that didn't really happen, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know.
But did it or did it not?
I mean, she's like, I never did that, because it's like a real person, but she was the real person that broke open the story and like kind of ruined Richard's life for a while.
Right.
And I mean, like, it just sucks for him. Like, watching the movie, you're just mad. Like,
yeah, because he didn't do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, especially if you know, we were, like, looking up, and I was like, man, this is just so frustrating, because, like, it's really a good movie it's really well acted, and it's just, like, I'm so mad during it. And I'm like, this poor guy, and he makes a great point. He's like, if you're doing this to me, nobody else is ever going to speak up when they find a bomb.
Yeah.
Ever. They're just going to let people die. And I'm like, 100%. I'm like, I get to an extent where people are like, well, he could have done it, blah, 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 or like, you totally get why. And I'm like, on some aspects I do, but like, if you don't have any real concrete proof besides this guy who's not all there just saying things that maybe or may not line up with it, like, it's kind of just some of it's kind of dumb. Dumb because you're like, this didn't really happen, and you're like, oh, this really happened.
You're just frustrated because society completely destroyed this man.
Yeah, and he was just a suspect. The FBI weren't sure if they were going to move on him, but because the news leaked out, the FBI had to move on him.
Yeah.
So I give it like an 8. It's good. I definitely recommend you watch it. I know it's getting a lot of flack.
I'm going to at some point.
Yeah, I think you would really like it.
I mean, I love Clint Eastwood movies, so.
Next, Little Women.
Did not see it.
Full stop. Not for me. It's not meant for me. But with my entire wife's family, her and her 4 sisters, 3 of them all just cried during it. So, It's good, incredibly well acted. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, I looked at the cast. I'm like, well, this is a good cast. It's just I don't know if the story is for me.
And that's the thing. For me, it just didn't resonate like it did with them. I think it's a good movie. I'd argue it's a great movie. But it's just, when I was watching, I was like, I don't know if this is for me or, like, if I genuinely enjoy this. But it is good. It's a great movie. And we'll talk about I'll run into something real quick of, like, that opinion, too. But I'd give it like an 8. If you gave it higher, I totally understand if it resonates with you. It's definitely probably like a 9 or a 10. Which that would be Irishman. Sorry, leaning into movies that aren't for me. Watched 2 hours of this movie. First 40 minutes really liked, and then it just kept dragging. And at this 2 hour mark, I was just like, I'm done. I was like, I don't need to keep watching this. I'm not enjoying this. And I know people are like, well, the last 40 minutes are good, but I don't know if I want to watch another hour. And no, it'd be another 50 minutes before I'd even reach that.
So yeah, what I understand is this movie is what, 3 hours?
3.5 hours.
Yeah. So I don't mind gangster movies. I don't really have a problem with them. The last really good gangster film I can think of was also by Scorsese, and it was in 2006, and that movie was called The Departed. And that movie is like 2 hours and 50 minutes or 3 hours, and I was just like blown away by it. So I want to see this movie. I just have not had the time to sit down and watch it all in one sitting.
Yeah, well, we had decided yesterday that we weren't going to do it in one sitting. I was going to watch some, and then we were going to leave and come back.
Yeah, I feel like you can't. I feel like I could not do that with that movie, and I don't know if I should.
Yeah, it's odd. I definitely, if it wins anything, I'm totally not against it winning stuff. It's just not for me.
Sure.
So I'll probably never finish it, and it probably won't be my top list. Which I'll talk about a game, and I thought because I was playing the Yakuza game that I'd be way more like, I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. But and I was at the first part. I was like, oh, this is. I was like, I'm getting a lot of Yakuza vibes here, but just not as like colorful and everything.
GTA first.
And so, but moving on to other Netflix, there are 2 more Netflix movies, and I have all addressed the last one.
Netflix was killing it with movies.
Marriage Story. Phenomenal. One of my favorite movies of the year.
I'm going to have to see it.
Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson do amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not... Somebody was like, this movie's pretty funny. And I'm like, there's a few scenes that are funny, but this movie is not funny. This movie
is about divorce,
right? You need to be in the right mentality when you watch this too, because you're going to be very sad. We watched this right after watching Honey Boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was not funny. There was no jokes. This was awful.
I've heard it's like depressing and like really bad to watch, like, alone.
Because, well, yeah, and I mean, like, we watched it, and I was like, some of this, like, sucks, because you're like, no one's at really fault here. Like, they try, it's weird.
Yeah, I've heard that, like, you don't feel like you're picking sides in this movie.
The movie does a few things here and there that tries to villainize people. I'm like, that was really unnecessary, and that's why it's not as high on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But there were, like, moments where I'm like, did you really need to do that instead of just being like, hey, they just fell out of love. Instead, they're like things that happened. I'm like, I don't know if I would have done that. But like Lauren, oh my gosh, what's her name? Lauren, whatever. She's in Little Women as well. Does really good in this movie. And like every scene she was in, I was like, oh my gosh. Her and ScarJo have a scene where I was like, somebody's winning an Oscar for this one. But I really like it. It's definitely like a 9 out of 10.
I feel like Scarlett Johansson has a really good chance between Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit.
She's up for Marriage Story tonight.
Yeah.
Probably Oscars too. I bet Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Because that's more of like a serious. Yeah.
Netflix or not Netflix Oscar movie.
Okay, Klaus or Klaus, however you want to pronounce it. This is a new Christmas movie that's on Netflix. I'm gonna say this, and I mean this in no joke. It is a 10.
Really?
It's a 2D animation movie that I loved and adored. We watched it on Christmas. We've been saving it, and I was like, I don't know. And we started in the first couple minutes. I was like, I don't know. But then it gets further and further, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is a new Christmas classic. Like, I adore it. I mean, like, I think J.K. Simmons voices Santa Claus.
Oh, that's perfect.
But they're like Santa Claus. It's awesome. I strongly recommend this movie. It's on Netflix. I cannot stress enough. This is in my top 10, and that blew my mind when we finished it because I was like, I cannot believe I like this movie as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is Dr. Sleep. I don't think I talked about this. I'm just gonna quickly do it. Ewan McGregor is awesome. This movie is so underrated. No one saw it. The sequel, Shining,
Mhm.
it's definitely like a 9 or an 8.5 out of 10. Everyone does great, and I strongly recommend it to everyone. When it comes out on Blu-ray, please just buy it and watch it.
So I have a question.
Okay.
You saw the Netflix Christmas movie. Have you watched the Disney Plus Christmas?
Yes,
movie?
I was.
Watched Noel?
We did watch Noel.
What did you think of Noel? Is that a 10?
So here's my two sides of the same coin.
I almost watched that last night.
So two sides of the same coin. If I saw this in theaters, I would say it's pretty mediocre. But I saw it. I didn't pay for it. It was on Disney Plus. I think it was actually pretty good for that. If it's a TV Christmas movie,
compare it to Lady and the Tramp.
It's way better than Lady and the Tramp.
Okay.
I would say it reminds me of like some older Christmas movies that are like that. If this movie was like 40 minutes, I honestly would have been like, wow, that was really good. If they could have condensed it down to that, I would have said it was awesome. But it reminds me a lot of like, it does remind me of Year Without a Santa Claus to an extent.
Okay.
Actually, strongly, the more I'm thinking about this, it strongly reminds me of that. It just doesn't have the same like pizzazz that has, or like a Snow and Heat Miser. But it's a good Christmas movie. Like, I genuinely...
would you watch it again next year?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
But
that's all I need to know about a Christmas movie.
But that's where... Yeah, and that's as far as I would go with it. Because it's a good Christmas movie. It's a good movie to watch at Christmas.
Sure.
But like Claus and like Arthur Christmas, I would argue...
Yeah.
Like those, you could watch outside of Christmas.
Okay.
But like this, I'd be like, you need to watch it in the month of December. If you're watching another time, you'd be like, you're just not in the mood for it, and...
I'm not in the mood for most Christmas movies when it's not December. Not because I don't like them, but because, like, I don't need to hear Jingle Bells in the background.
Yeah.
All of that. Like, I didn't listen to any Christmas music this year, and I feel great because of it.
But that's how I put Noel. Is like, it's a good Christmas movie, but it's not like... It's like and this is... Okay, as a Christmas movie, I give like a 6. Maybe 6.5.
Okay, that's not terrible considering how many there are.
Yeah, I mean, my family liked it way more than I did. But I thought it was just, I thought it was good. I thought the acting was really good in it. Bill Hader and Anna Kendrick did really well. Yeah. There's a really cute baby reindeer that literally, like, it's like Baby Yoda. Yeah, every time I was on screen, my entire family was like, oh.
Disney's just like, we have to just throw as many cutesy baby characters as possible, because if we don't, then people aren't going to care.
So... On Noel, let's do our Disney Plus segment. So everything you can watch on there.
I've mostly just watched The Simpsons and Mandalorian.
So we need to finish Mandalorian review, which Ryan will give his input when he coughs up that fur ball.
Yeah. The final episode is really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Dare I say the best episode of the series so far.
I didn't think it was the best, but I did really like it, and I thought episodes 7 and 8 were great. Or what I wanted the entire season.
Right, like, I feel like you can absolutely cut the episode.
You can cut 5 and 6.
That 5 is the one where he's going with the younger bounty hunter. And then 6 is the one on the prisoner ship.
Yes, which I think...
you can cut those. The thing that I would argue, though, is that those episodes deal with the Mandalorian's questionable morality character. Because, like, in episode 6, he's not wanting to kill the... resistance guy on the prisoner ship, but then he like leads those people there to blow up those other people, and I'm like, okay, so like what's right or wrong to him? Like it's interesting for him as a character. Like I really thought that while those episodes weren't needed, there are scenes that I'm like, these are actually really good scenes that at least expand more on him as a character.
I guess 6 was the last episode that came out since we talked, right? Since we since it's been 2 weeks. I thought... So here have been my thoughts on 5 and 6. Where we are with Season 1, I don't like them. But if Season 2 ties them back in...
I think Season 2 is going to have to.
Because Episode 5 ends with a cliffhanger, but that's never answered in Season 1.
I think that... This is my personal theory now. I think that the cliffhanger of 5 is the villain that we see at the end of Episode 7, and it is the villain in Episode 8. I think that it's Giancarlo Esposito's character.
But then why wouldn't you show him the bounty hunter?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It could be Boba Fett.
Honestly,
I don't want it to be Boba Fett.
But I think it's Boba Fett, because there's rumors of a Boba Fett Disney Plus show.
It was on Tatooine. So, I mean...
But hold on, when he comes out with that Darksaber, I'm just spoiling it. When he opens the
while.
Yeah. When he like comes out, cuts open the Darksaber, I was like sitting there and I was freaking out, and my wife was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, that's I'm like, that's adorable. I'm like, he's got the sabers.
How are they gonna fight them?
Yeah, I was like, how are you gonna defeat that? How did he get the Darksaber?
That's the real question. Is he a former Inquisitor?
Ooh.
Like,
he does have it all black.
I know. He looks like he's trying to dress up as Darth Vader. And I'm just so glad he did not kill Giancarlo. Because I was like, this man was a phenomenal villain in Breaking Bad, and now he's a villain in Star Wars. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Give me this.
I was really worried he was going to be in it for those 2 episodes.
And that was it.
Yeah, when his ship went down, I sat there and I was like,
aww.
I was like, don't do this. Do not. Not.
I was just like, the age-old rule is that if you didn't see them die, they're not dead. And I was so happy. I really loved how they wrapped up the Mandalorian's character in terms of why he doesn't trust droids.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that the moment where the droid was like, I can sense that you're sad, I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah. I also, IG's sacrifice was
I thought that was really powerful. Just because, like, in less than, 40 minutes, the Mandalorian character goes from absolutely hating droids to being like, no, I need you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and when he takes his helmet off to heal him, I was like, this is so good. Like, this character moment is just so powerful to me. Just for the Mandalorian to let a droid do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, because, the very first episode, he literally kills that exact same droid, to save Baby Yoda. And now that droid is saving his life because it's been reprogrammed. I love the scene where the stormtroopers have Baby Yoda in the bag.
Oh my gosh.
That was so funny. And I'm like, can we just get, a series like MASH, but just with stormtroopers who are, just misfit stormtroopers who are, the worst of the worst? You've seen Red vs. Blue, right?
Yeah.
Just do that, but with stormtroopers just stuck at an outpost, and they just have no orders. They're just, waiting around, and they're just screwing around.
I could see Disney doing, one-shots of that, but no, I don't think they do a full series. But
I don't think, a full series, but, just shorts. Of
10-minute shorts of just,
stormtroopers just a day in the life of a stormtrooper.
Yeah, at the Death Star or something.
Yeah, they're like, did you see that new T-16?
It's just them walking back and forth. They're like, oh, yeah, that's all we do. We just walk in formation.
We just walk around. We're
waiting for somebody to attack.
We're not important. We don't even practice our aiming. People are just so scared of us because we're large in numbers.
Yeah. Talk about have a canonical reason for why they're bad at aiming or shooting.
The helmets. I can't see with this helmet. I mean, I would believe it.
Yeah. I think somebody talked about that, if you looked at, how you could actually see out of it, it'd be really hard to see.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit some other Disney Plus stuff real quick, because I keep up with all the original stuff.
Sure.
Which they added a new show.
What's that?
It's called Pick of the Litter, and it is a show about service dogs.
Oh my goodness.
And it is very cute and sad.
I'll have to watch it.
Some dogs, it shows you, so what happens is a family takes in a dog, and they raise it for a year, and then that dog may or may not pass to become a service dog.
Oh, wow.
And so you watch, that year with the family, and, then you see, if the dog makes it or not. And most families then end up keeping the dog, or,
if it doesn't make it?
Yeah, because you're just attached to it.
Well, yeah.
And we were talking, because, one of our dogs were, it would have been really close to the time of having to give him up. And I was like, wow, that would have been it. This would have been the time frame we would have had him.
Yeah.
And then had to be all right, go off and be a service dog, and just imagine cutting him from our life.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
It's pretty good. My wife likes it way more than I do, but I think it's really cute.
I've been meaning to watch a lot of Disney Plus original shows. It's just, I don't have the time, and I don't like putting things on that I've never seen on just in the background while I'm doing other things. So, I know I still need to finish the High School Musical series.
Which it's on the finale is this Friday.
Right.
So here's the thing. I genuinely enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cheesy and campy and very high school drama.
Right.
It's not well. I mean, it's. I think it's well acted for what it is. And I think the music sounds good. One of our friends hates it, and I was like, I genuinely like it to an extent.
It's whatever.
And it's just a fun series.
I want to watch the Disney Story documentary.
The Imagineering story is so good. It's my favorite thing on Disney Plus.
I need to watch it. It's just that each episode is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I need to set time aside.
I think it's 8 to 10 hours for the full thing.
I think because I don't work this Tuesday, I'm just going to sit down and watch it. Because, I have nothing to do.
Encore, still pretty good. It has hit or miss if I don't care about the play as much. Or the people.
I will probably just watch select episodes of that, just based on the plays that I like.
Yeah, I would say,
unless there's one specifically you should just watch.
Yeah, the last two I've been they're okay.
I've watched the first 4 episodes of The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
We've kept up with it, and I don't love it.
I loved the first episode just because of the idea of it.
Fiddler on the Roof was pretty good, so I lied. They did Fiddler on the Roof, and they did Oklahoma. I'd say those two I'd recommend, but Godspell and Pippin I didn't really care for. But they're doing High School Musical next week. They're finding a class that did it back in 2006 or something.
See, that's fun.
And then I think that's everything. Well, there's one day at Disney, there's a movie, and then there's also shorts, so I need to go watch the shorts. But there's a movie of 10 different people who work at Disney, and it starts with an animator who does Mickey, and ends with Bob Iger, who's the president now.
That's
just kind of talking about their day-to-day. We kept up with Forky, Ask a Question, don't really care. They're not great.
I've watched the first 2, and that's it.
We watched all of them. What is Love is the best one.
Really?
Yeah, and then after that, I've been none of them have lived up to the humor of that one. That one has Betty White and some other people in it who are super old famous actors. I'm like,
why are you here?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing?
You could have just been in one of the movies.
Well, I think they might have been, but I think it might have been one scene.
Oh.
Because I'm I was like, I think I've seen that character in Toy Story 3 or 4. And I was like, but maybe for one scene. I think 4. I think it's in the opening of 4 with Woody in the closet, because it's some of the closet characters.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, holy crap, these characters were in Toy Story 4 for one freaking scene.
So yeah, I watched all the Toy Story specials that are on Disney Plus right now. I watched Hawaiian Vacation and Party Source Rex.
Oh, yeah.
Those, just because I've never seen them, they're actually not bad.
Yeah, I liked some of them. I saw for the first couple ones, and then after that I stopped.
I was
keeping up with them.
I was surprised because I was expecting them to just be whatever and not have the original cast and all.
Oh no, they all have.
Yeah, I know, which is what shocks me that they could get Tim Allen and Tom Hanks to do Woody and Buzz.
Oh, what's Tim Allen doing? What's Tim Allen doing these days?
It's not that he's not doing anything. It's I don't feel like doing that.
That's why they wrote Tom Hanks out, so they can just keep Tim Allen around doing stuff because he's not doing anything.
Oh, Toy Story 4. You ruined Buzz Lightyear for me.
Okay, so let's talk about a few other things, and then we'll wrap this. We'll bring this out. So I want your first impression and your honest first impressions of One Piece.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. One Piece. How many episodes did we watch before we watched that?
You've seen
special?
1 through 12, and then we watched episode of East Blue, which is the condensed version of the first 40-ish episodes.
Okay. So I actually really enjoy this series. I was not expecting going into it to be as attached to some of the characters as I am right now. I did not like Sonny Straight's character at first. He's the one that... he protects the village. I did not like him in the show. But when we watched the episode of Blue, I loved him. I don't know what it was. I think having the story condensed really helped me with liking him a lot more.
His story, I was definitely watching episode of Blue because I hadn't seen it. Mm-hmm. I was I liked Usopp's story more there.
Yeah.
But Nami and Sanji's, I was like, this isn't how I would show them because Nami's is the impact that everyone talks about.
I liked that final story a lot, but I would have liked to have seen it
play out
in full because I can see where one moment that they do that's an entire episode and then another. And I haven't even seen it yet, but I'm this is clearly a full episode, and then the cutoff is here and here and here. And I'm all right, this is sad, and it's building up.
Yeah.
And then to say I've watched the last 6 episodes to get to the point where she tells the daughters that she loves them.
Yeah.
And I'm and then that's just an episode, and that ends, and then the next episode starts where Luffy's of course I'll help you, and they just go. I'm yeah, that'd be awesome. I will say, watching that, though, instead of Luffy saying, of course I'll help you, I wish he would have just put his hat on her head and then just went and said nothing. I think that would have been more powerful, but I just don't see that being Luffy's character.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with, condensing that, because it had been the entire time of Luffy being do you want my help? That's the thing that condenses it. Of over and over and over, Luffy's do you want our help? I'll help. We'll help. Over and over and over again until, Nami finally breaks down. And he's she's will you still help me? And
he's of course I'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It's just, I think I would have liked to see that particular story play out.
Yeah, and I almost was maybe I should just turn it off, but I was I just want to watch it. Because I love when that moment.
What's the other character's name?
Sanji.
That's my problem. I can't remember anybody's name right now. Sanji's story I thought was better condensed. Her story I think would be better stretched more out.
Yeah.
And then
Zoro's moment would be Hawk.
Zoro's is really good either way.
Yeah.
Zoro is probably my favorite character right now.
A lot of people, yeah. He's I mean, there's the big three. And
between him and Luffy, I think, are my favorites. I did not really care for the cook that much.
But, I mean, you saw him in like a 30-minute, well, I'd say 20 minute. I'd say his story,
he hasn't been introduced to me at all in the anime yet.
Yeah, he's their generic perv character.
Oh, okay.
That
makes sense. So is he going to basically just hit on the one girl?
Over and over, yeah.
And just never...
But then we get another perv character that's worse. But that doesn't matter.
Oh.
But so, I just wanted your first impressions that...
It's good. We'll see how I feel 200 episodes in.
But let's talk about your heartbreak.
Oh, my hero.
I wish we had watched it together.
Oh, okay.
Miria, so we're only talking about Lemillion, the episode Lemillion.
Yeah. That was really good. I did not cry. I did not get as emotional as I think people thought I was going to because of how much I love the character.
Now, you did seem pretty angry in the text messages.
I was mad. I was not upset. I was mad because I was like... I liked that they actually took a character that everybody loves so much and they just take him away.
Yeah.
I was like, this makes sense from a storytelling perspective. It makes me hate the villain more because up until this point I was like, oh yeah, this is a pretty cool villain. I like him. But now, like, it's like, oh no, these villains are, like, really dangerous and, like, they're powerful enough to stop a character that we've already seen is this powerful.
Yeah.
Like, the first time we see Lemillion, he takes out all of UA in, like, 6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Like, an unbelievable feat, to me, considering how powerful Bakugo...
Well, he didn't fight them. So remember, it was Class 1A except for those...
Except for those who didn't have their license?
Yeah.
Okay, but Deku, Ida... Like
all, yeah. It's
the
just...
ones that are there. Like he beat them.
Yeah.
Like objectively, like they stood no chance. And it's like this character is powerful enough to swap hands with Overhaul.
Oh, and was beating him. Was about to win.
He was going to win, and it's like this is incredible. And he has the best heroic character moment to me in the series thus far.
And when he keeps going even after losing his powers,
right? Like. And I was watching and I was like, Eri, you have got to move. You've got to move. Like, I'm actively looking at the screen. I'm like, you need to move. I know you're scared, but you have got to move. Like, you are putting yourself and him in danger right now. I know you're scared. You're a little girl, but, like, move! Like, I'm screaming at a fictional child character to move. And then I'm just like, he's not going to be able to shoot Lemillion, like the henchman, because he loads the revolver with one of the red bullets that's supposed to take away your quirk. And I'm like, well, he's clearly not going to be able to hit him. So what I thought was going to happen was that he was going to shoot at Lemillion, and Lemillion was going to fade away, and at the last second he was going to hit Overhaul. I was like, that would have been pretty sick. But then I was like, this doesn't make any sense. If it were me in this situation, I know what I would do. And then it quickly turns to Ari, and I'm like, yep, this is the smartest thing he can do. And he goes to shoot at the child. And like a hero, Lemillion runs in and dives in front of the bullet. And I was like, oh my god, they really just did this. They took out the most popular character of this arc. And I was like, he's done. He can't do anything. And then he still fights.
Yeah, no, when he throws Kronos at Overhaul and just keeps going.
Right, and I was like, if this were, like, in a comic book of a character I liked, like, say, Spider-Man, or Batman, or Superman, or
somebody with powers, so let's calm down there.
Like,
Batman.
Like, okay, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, somebody with powers losing their powers and still going.
Or, like, say Batman, like, is just, like, humiliated and, like, broken in some way, and he still gets up and fights. I'm like, alright, this is what a hero does. Like, a lot of people, I think, were wondering, when are we going to get to heroes doing, like, the most heroic thing of saving people? Like, as much as I love the MCU, you don't see them just saving everyday people all that often.
Yeah, the only time they really did it was Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron and Avengers 1. And, of course, I mean, they bring everybody back in game. But, like, to see them have such personal stakes in rescuing one person and going to that limit of giving up everything you've trained for to save that person's life. I was like, this is what a hero would do. Like, and I was like, that to me was the most amazing moment of the series, next to like All Might fighting All for One. I was like, this is like top 5 moments.
Yeah, I would say it top 5. I don't know if it'd be higher than like Deku versus.
I don't think it would be higher than Deku versus
Bakugo or
Todoroki.
Yeah, and I don't think it's higher than All Might. Either one of All Might's big moments, him versus the Nomu and
Namu or
United States of Smash.
5 then.
5, yeah.
Yeah, like it's really good.
Oh, I guess that's it's above that. But so I just want to get your opinion on it, just that you could have your moment. After we finish this, we'll go watch the next episode.
It's so good. You guys kept saying next episode. We promise it's gonna get to the height because I haven't read the manga.
Well, yeah, I'd say yeah.
And like, well, I mean, between you and Jake, one of you would always tell me at least once a week. It's like, not this episode, but the next episode.
Leading into this. Yeah.
And it's like, it leads to this moment, and I'm like, okay, I've been waiting. I like what we've seen so far, but this is what, episode 13 or something like that?
12?
I've been waiting a while. Like, it's technically been 3 months of you telling me, this next episode.
Almost 4.
Yeah, this next episode, this is where it's going to get good. And I'm like, okay, guys.
Well, I thought it was always good, I didn't know it. Yeah. Like, well, it's like, if you binged it all, you'd have been like, oh my gosh, this was so good. But watching it week to week, you're
watching it week to week, I'm like, nothing's happening.
Yeah, it's like, no things are happening, you just don't see it.
Like, there's this amazing fight with Fat Gum and Red Riot.
We both underestimated the hero Red Riot, and then Fat Gum is Hot Gum or Fit Gum.
I'm going to call him Hot Gum. I think that's good. But the guy they fight, he's not even really a villain.
He's just like, oh, I just want a cool fight.
He's an MMA fighter. He's like, we fight to the death. We fight for honor. And I'm like, why are you a villain? Like, and I guess it's just because Overhaul beat him.
He just liked to fight, and so he wasn't really a villain.
He was like, Overhaul beat me, and I want to be able to beat Overhaul.
Yeah.
And I was like...
So Overhaul beat him 6 times.
Yeah, and he felt humiliated by that. I was like, this is actually a really strong character moment for a character I'm probably never going to see again.
Yeah, but
like,
so we'll wrap it up because we'll do a full discussion on spoilers.
That's one of the best episodes of the series.
Oh, hands down.
Like,
Lemillion is a good episode. I even went back and watched the dub yesterday because they did the dub now a week later.
I don't know why I thought of this, but you know, you've seen Man of Steel, and everybody who's listening to this has probably seen Man of Steel. You know the scene where young Clark Kent has, like, the bedsheet on as a cape, and he's just standing in the field, and they're playing the music, and he's just superhero posing? I immediately thought of the moment with Lemillion and his dad, and, like, they show Lemillion running, like, with his class, and then they show the little boy running, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, this is Superman. Like... I was like, this is what's happening here. Like, I can't process how good of a character moment that is.
Yeah, it was like, the flashback is where I started crying.
I didn't cry, but I had a tear. Like,
I was bawling.
You were with your...
I was with my in-laws, right? And when we were
just like screaming and crying.
Well, no, we were out. They were moving something outside, and I was like, I'm gonna go inside because I'd helped for about an hour, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, they don't really need me anymore.
Yeah.
So I went and sat inside. I pulled out my headphones and was just watching it. And I can hear my sister-in-law. I'm like crying. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just zoning her out. I'm just like crying. I'm like not responding. And I'm like, you go, Lemillion, you go.
My favorite thing was that at 7:30 in the morning, Jake messaged me 6 times. Wake up! Watch the episode now!
Yeah, I know. As soon as I woke up, I had 5 messages from him. He's like, "Did you watch it yet?"
He was like, "Did you watch it?" And he just sends me a picture of it on Hulu, and he's like, "Screw waiting for the dub." He was like, "I don't watch Japan stuff." I think his exact words were, "I don't look at Japan as an equal, but I'm watching this." And I was like, okay.
It was a really good episode. So good. The hype for it. Next. Yeah, we'll talk about... I won't ruin it, but I promise, in 2 weeks, it'll be really good.
You've heard it here. I have to wait 2 weeks for the payoff again.
You'll get some of the payoff this week and some next week. I think next week is I know what next week is going to end on.
I just want Deku to knock Overhaul out.
I think next week is going to end on a moment that, in the manga, we're all like, oh, things are really going down.
Yeah.
I think the last shot is going to be something. And then, which you'll get an idea this week. Watching the episode, you might be able to piece it together. But, yeah.
I want them to just take all those bullets and just shoot Overhaul in the face with them now. Like, I know that's not what a hero would do, but I'm like, you guys should manufacture this for the heroes to use.
Yeah, like, but then you're like, I don't know.
But then are you better than the villains?
Yeah,
like,
you'd be arguing like...
That's a moral dilemma, and I actually really like the idea of it.
But I'm going to end on talking about games real quick.
Okay.
Mainly, I want to talk about Yakuza 0, but I'm going to talk about it in a second. So I played Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair.
I've been meaning to.
You would love it. It is a true successor to Donkey Kong Country. Made by the people who made the original Donkey Kong Country.
I need it.
It's genuinely really good, and I've been alternating. So like when we're watching something that I don't need to give my full attention, I pull out my Switch and play Yooka-Laylee.
I hear the Pongo the Doggo. But
then when I want to play when I need to play Yakuza, and I because I have to play that on the TV, which I wish was on Switch. Oh my gosh.
Maybe someday.
It's just now coming to Xbox. I don't think Zero could. I just can't imagine.
I think the other games could for sure.
But the other ones could. Which
I haven't played Zero.
I got
6.
I got for Christmas 0, 1, 2, and 6. And I ordered 3 through 5 because they're doing a remaster collection in February.
Oh yeah.
And so
here's
the thing. I genuinely think you should try Zero.
I mean, I want to. It's just, I only played 6 when it came out. I was like, this looks fun. And I mean, I beat the main story, and I liked it, but I don't remember it at this point.
Zero, and this is what my brother was telling me because he's played them all. He's like, Zero's the one you want to play to start if you've never played them. He's like, it's a perfect entry point because you start the origins of the character you're playing in 6. Yeah. Like, it's him and somebody else. You alternate between 2 characters. And at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like alternating, but I'm on chapter 4, and there's 16 chapters. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I love both of these people. Like, I want to see both of them succeed in getting, like, higher up in the Yakuza, and, like, I just like the world. And, like...
I've been meaning to play it because I've heard that it's a really good initial game, because 6 is the only one I've played.
It is, and my only downside is I wish it was dubbed. It sounds really stupid, because people are like... I mean, the sub-voice actors do really well. It's just like, there are some long cutscenes, and I don't want to sit there and read sometimes. I'm like, okay, I'll read, and this is like a 20-minute cutscene.
Into English, that'd be great, yeah. I can understand that.
But, I mean,
I feel like I shouldn't have to watch a full episode of an anime to get to the next gaming moment.
But I've already put 10 hours in since Christmas, and I plan to beat it. My goal is every couple months, I'll sit down and play a Yakuza game, because 7, they're going a completely different route of making it a JRPG. Ooh. And so everyone's like, this is weird. So I'm curious about it, and so that was mainly why I wanted to play all 6 of the games at 7, because I got to play Judgment as well, because Judgment is a spin-off of the Yakuza games.
Yeah.
But I really like Zero, and if you've wanted a Japanese Grand Theft Auto game that I think is better than Grand Theft Auto, you just can't drive around in cars and stuff.
Sleeping Dogs has that, but that's in Hong Kong. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can play that game and live out the. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that sentence.
But I genuinely really like Yakuza, and I think it's like if you took the story of GTA and like emphasized the story instead of just the free roam, which it has a lot of freedom. There's a lot of stuff to do.
Oh yeah,
you can get lost in the world.
There's plenty to do.
Yeah, and so like I think it has all of that, but I think it's because it puts the emphasis on the story. I enjoy it way more than I do Grand Theft Auto.
But I can understand that.
I will leave it on that. I had a bunch of Switch games I played. They're like eShop, but they're not worth talking about. So let's talk about how this is going to look the next couple weeks.
Okay.
So the goal next week is to do our decades in review. The only thing that is going to be hard is we might not have seen 1917. I don't know who will have seen it by then.
I'm going to try.
But I don't know if that...
I don't know if it's going to affect my current ranking.
And that's what I feel too.
I don't feel like anything that I haven't seen yet, including Marriage Story, is going to affect my current ranking right now.
We'll see.
I mean, yeah, it probably will on some level, but will it be like my number 1? Probably not.
But so that's why we're going to do the decades in review, and then we're going to do our 2019 in review after. So next episode will be decades, and then after that will be 2019, because I want to give people time to watch everything for 2019 before we do like a top 10
list.
I
think that's fair. Just because like there's probably movies that Ryan wants to see still that he hasn't gotten a chance to see.
Yeah. And
I know of 2 in theaters that I want to see, which is 1917 and Just Mercy.
Yeah, which both come out this week.
Yeah. So I should have time, but Just gotta wait. But yeah, no, decade review, that'll be fun.
We're going to do a bit of game talk, kind of talk about what we think should rank if you were doing and a lot of it will be very personal stuff. Like,
oh, yeah, for sure.
What would you personally have in your top 10? Not what
I think is the best.
We might throw out here and there, be like, I do think, like, for me, I'll probably say what I think, like, could be argued as the best thing of the decade, but, like...
I have two that I immediately think of that I'm like, these are, like, the best movies of the decade.
But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
So, ending on that note, that's kind of what the plan looks like for the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hope for January's episodes. At least to do 2 more and do those 2. So, guarantee the next episode. And then somewhere in there... I kind of want to do it separate, but my goal would be next week when we do our decade is maybe to do the Cats reviews separate and keep them separate. Just do like a 20-minute spin-off thing of Cats.
Yeah, I think we should keep Cats as far away from everything else as possible. And also, we need to just have the overture just on repeat in the background the entire time. I know I made that joke earlier, but
You made it off camera.
Off
mic.
I'm dedicated to that. Just so that we hear...
Anyway, so that'll be our goals. That's the goals for everyone, the projection of what January looks like. And then the hope is, I'm looking at getting a new job, hopefully here in the next couple weeks. And if that all works out, I want to try to focus more on doing some streams.
Yeah.
Because you should also be shifting some hours. Potentially.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how that's going to look for me yet.
I think
Thursdays and Saturdays I'm pretty much going to be free.
Maybe. I think I wouldn't be surprised if you're off Mondays. And so we've talked about maybe doing like a streaming day on Mondays.
Right.
And then doing a nothing coherent streaming day on Monday and then letting you do your own stream on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Which Zach is going to be streaming Dragon Ball Z Kakarot in a couple weeks.
When that comes out, yeah, that's...
I'm putting pressure on making it say that. So
well, no, I already was planning on that. The gift that Ryan got me for Christmas is going towards paying off Kakarot on Wednesday. So.
Yeah. I just ordered it yesterday with an Amazon gift card. Because it's $50 on Amazon right now.
Yeah. I think on the PSN store it's still going to be $60, but I don't really care. I'm only paying $10 for it. So.
Yeah. So...
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it's looking for us. Hopefully everything works out this way. This is that's why I'm just putting 2 episodes on the January table because I don't know what things look like right now.
Right, and then eventually we'll probably do Oscar predictions again like we did last year.
In February.
Yeah.
We'll do probably Oscar bet and prediction episode.
We'll have to start thinking of a punishment for that.
Oh, there's got to be some movie that comes out soon around then.
There was that one movie with Salma Hayek in it that's like about these women who are starting a business that
like a boss.
We should see that.
Or The Grudge. Which The Grudge, hold on, I want you to hear this. So, Cinema Score is I'll talk about this real quick. Cinema Score is where the audience gets to write their reviews after seeing it.
Yeah.
They're given a card, and it's kind of weird. So, like, Rise of Skywalker got a B. Like, Endgame got an A+. Like, it's kind of rare to get, like, an A+, but it goes, like, it's, like, A to C. I believe, and I'm not going to be fully quoted on this, but I think in the last 10 years, only 1 F has ever been given, and it's this new Grudge movie. Which, you got to understand, they're asking people opening night, the Thursday night, so that means people who want to see this movie are there. That means people who wanted to see this movie gave it an F.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to see it. Even if I lose, I'm not...
You're going to shut your stupid mouth and see it.
I'm not doing The Grudge.
Oh, you might have to.
No, I don't
like
The Grudge.
Anyway, so Zach will see The Grudge. Bye.